Are you ready to be worshipped? Are you ready to be exalted?
Hello and welcome to episode 73 of Popcorn and Prosecco, a show that's all about talking about movies. I am Perri Nemiroff, and here are my co-hosts, Kristy Puchko and Angie Han.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
All right, so this week we are splitting up the time for two big movies, and first up is going to be Terminator Genisys, and then we're going to wrap up with Magic Mike XXL. So first, Terminator, and I have that one. Here is the IMDb synopsis. John Connor sends Kyle Reese back in time to protect Sarah Connor, but when he arrives in 1984, nothing is as he expected it to be. Accurate points for IMDb, or whoever wrote that. So I'm just going to jump into the reason that I liked this movie, which was pretty much the humor. I don't think I would have liked this movie at all if it wasn't for the fact that it threw in like satirical type jokes every once in a while, and every time Arnold Schwarzenegger tried to smile, I laughed and smiled too.
Yeah, he's still intensely charismatic, and you're right, there's a lot more humor in it than I think any of the trailers are selling, and that is something that I think is missing from a lot of blockbusters like this, where they're like, we have to be grim and serious, and we can't ever crack a smile or a joke. So I agree, I did appreciate that part.
Yeah, I think for me that speaks to the part of the movie that worked the best for me is everything Arnold-centric has this this self-awareness about it, and this kind of like, we know what you came for, ding! And like that stuff I really enjoyed. I think every scene with Arnold in it is awesome. Less successful is kind of everything else. I like this movie, but with like a lot of caveats. Like, I don't understand the plot. Like, halfway through, I was just like, I kind of just wanted to chuck my notebook because I had been trying to keep place of dates and times and what they said happened in those dates and times. I was like, I don't know anymore.
No, it's a plot that works way better if you avoid thinking about it and just try your hardest to
It also has the pace that can sustain it, too. It's like, I caught myself eventually not getting so wrapped up in everything because it was moving so quickly, and I was enjoying at least the individual set pieces.
Yeah, I disagree that it moves quickly, though, just because there's so many scenes that are them explaining how the world works, which, like, I understand the opening intro I found helpful because I haven't seen any of the Terminator movies in a couple of years, and, like, I didn't really get around to rewatching them all, so I was just like, I know 1 and 2 really well. I saw 3 and 4 once and kind of forgot they exist. And the movie doesn't care. The movie's like, okay, here's everything you need to know, and they spool it out in a kind of uncinematic but helpful first 5 to 10 minutes. But then throughout the movie, they keep being like, also another thing you should know, and also this. And it's like every time they have one of those conversations, I was just like, all right.
You know what? Honestly, it made me wish. So I feel like it's become unpopular to just straight up reboot a franchise. These days, if you're gonna reboot a franchise, you have to come up with some convoluted explanation as to why it's not really a reboot. It's a sequel. They did that with X-Men: Days of Future Past. They did that with the Star Trek movie, and they're doing it with Terminator Genisys. And it takes up so much time and energy for no reason.
Reboot-quel.
Yes, reboot-quel.
I like that Perri is still saying that word. Like, it's a new language. We had like a 20-minute conversation the other day off of the podcast.
It was a new
friends.
word for me. I've never
No,
used
I know,
that
but
term
you're like reboot-quel? Like, we should be like, hooray!
I want to talk about something that I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, but they're not really about the quality of it so much as, I'm just going to say, they have some really fucked up, weird, bizarre family dynamics here, okay? It's about
Which I think we can get into without spoilers, considering it's the same fucking family dynamics this franchise has been working with for the past 30 years.
The only thing, so basically John Connor sends back Kyle Reese, who he knows is his dad, and who in this movie, like, Kyle, like, they have kind of a big brother, younger brother relationship with the dad as the younger brother, and John Connor has, like, somehow manipulated Kyle Reese into, like, preemptively falling in love with Sarah Connor before he even sends him back, and then, like, I don't know, it's
he
weird.
Like, creates
and then, like,
his own existence by telling this little boy, like, let me tell you how cool my mom was.
Let me send you a picture of my mom so that you can masturbate to it. It's wonderful. And then meanwhile, when he gets
That's
back
a deleted
there,
scene. That's not in the movie.
Okay, he doesn't say masturbate. It's implied. When he gets there, when Kyle Reese finally gets into the past, he meets Emilia Clarke, Sarah Connor, who is hanging out with her robot dad, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the whole time, I was like, oh my god, this is a movie about, like, a guy who sent his essentially adopted younger brother to, like, have sex with his mom so that he could be born, and meanwhile, like, his like de facto grandfather is a robot
Why
that was
isn't all
originally
that in
programmed
the
to kill him, and I was
IMDb
like,
synopsis?
why is nobody in the movie freaking out about this? That was the
It's-
thing that made me so mad. I was like,
it is like a Greek mythology. It's almost like anti-Oedipal, where instead of killing his dad and fucking his mom, he wants his dad to fuck his mom, and then so that he doesn't die.
and nobody in the movie like seems to appreciate how fucking weird it is. They're all just like, okay.
Well, that's also because, can we talk about the acting? The acting. Now, I actually like Emilia Clarke and Arnold Schwarzenegger in this together. I thought they were really
She's
cute.
okay.
They were like. I'm
Her
trying to-
American accent is spotty.
I
agreed.
found her very disappointing.
liked
To
her.
me, her work in this movie kind of suggests that, Game of Thrones will be her thing, and that's it.
You're not alone in that. I liked her in this. I thought they had like I'm trying to think. It's almost like a Pete and Pete's Dragon situation where like Arnold's not a person in this. He's kind of a weird pet. But he is just great as a weird pet, and I loved it. And he's like very aware of what makes him fun, and he just goes with that. And he is capital M, capital S movie star. Then there is Jai Courtney.
Okay, surprisingly passable is my review of his performance.
I liked him. I don't know. There's just something about his on-screen presence in every movie where I'm like, I will sit and watch you. And like, you know how I feel about him otherwise. So
Yeah,
it's
Perry's
a
not a
little
fan
strange.
otherwise.
It's a little strange that I'm okay with that, but I found him like, I don't know, pretty charming
To be clear,
and
it's
engaging.
not like Perry's met Jai Courtney and like doesn't like him. It's just that based on stuff he puts on Instagram, we have a lot of theories.
Yeah,
but go on.
I've made up stuff. But also,
have a-
especially like comparing him to Jason Clarke, who I found very off-putting, and not just because of who his character is. Like every time he was on screen, I was kind of like almost
It's
like
weird.
recoiling.
Yeah,
He's also the guy that in a movie that has zero sense of humor. So, you were talking about how you like humor. That is a completely humorless, completely serious character.
It's like even before, I mean, really, can we talk about the twist because it's in all the marketing?
It's in all the trailers. I
All
feel
right,
like we can talk about the
we
twist.
should put a slight spoiler warning. If
Yeah,
you've already seen the
slight
trailers, you already know what's
spoilers.
coming. But
If you haven't even seen the poster for the movie, though.
Fair.
yeah.
All right. Well, even when he was human, he wasn't human. Like I don't know what
Jason Clarke is weird in this.
he was playing that role as, but he had no life to him whatsoever.
Yeah, my bigger issue is, like, I get that Jai Courtney is passable, but, like, his part demands someone with charisma, and, like, it's not that he's anti-charismatic. It's not like he's repulsive. It's not like, Angie and I were talking about, like, he's not Taylor Kitsch, John Carter. I don't actively hate him on screen. It's not to that level. It's literally that when he is on screen, my brain is already functioning to forget he exists.
I don't know. I liked him. I think less than Perry did and more than Kristy did. I thought he was fine. I do think that the script does him no favors because Kyle Reese is basically like this. He's like half a step behind every other character in this movie by design. So it's not Jai Courtney's fault that he comes across as kind of a dum-dum. But because of that, like there's just not that much room for him to like be creative or interesting.
It's too bad they didn't do more with J.K. Simmons' character.
He
Yeah,
was,
or
like one of the best
Byung-Hun
parts
Lee's.
of the movie.
Like, him and Byung-Hun Lee and Matt Smith, they have three really exciting people
I
in this.
totally forgot Matt Smith was in this movie.
Yeah, and that's
because
criminal.
he's barely in it. I bet that they're setting him up to be in a
Yeah.
sequel. Is the
Here's
only
the
thing
thing.
I can guess.
They gave him a character poster, and for Doctor Who fans out there, I want you to be aware that is criminal. He is barely in this movie. That is to get you in the door with the Doctor Who and the time travel, and then be like, oh yeah, he's barely in this movie, so fuck
I don't
you.
even think he's got a full minute of screen time in
I
this
think he's
movie.
an under 5. I think he has less than 5
Really?
lines. I think.
Oy.
Like, genuinely.
I think he might have 6 or 7.
But, like, my point is that I feel like this movie has enough interesting things that I did enjoy watching it. But when it comes to actually recommending somebody else watch it, I would say maybe wait until DVD.
I think this is like the classic like wait until DVD movie. Like it's fine. It's like mildly entertaining, but it's really by no definition a must-see unless you are very invested in this franchise, and in which case you'll probably just be annoyed that they are reboot-quilling it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'm in the fine realm on this one, too. It's kind of one of those things where it just kind of is what it is and it's fine, but it certainly doesn't justify the continuation of the franchise whatsoever, which is kind of disappointing.
And to come out at the summer when it's like, it's summer sensation, big spectacle season, this just does not live up to that. And we all saw it in 3D IMAX and was just kind of like, I don't get what the point of that was.
All right, so, yeah, I guess that's like a lot of not so hot recommendations on
It's a
Terminator
lot of
Genisys.
A lot of meh.
It's like that little shruggy
Meh.
thing, like,
Meh.
That'll be our title for this week. Meh.
All right, on to Magic Mike.
All right. Here is the synopsis from IMDb. 3 years after Mike bowed out of the stripper life at the top of his game, he and the remaining Kings of Tampa hit the road to Myrtle Beach to put on one last blowout performance. That is an accurate synopsis, so Perri...
But it doesn't even deserve a synopsis. There's no story in this movie.
There is
the
no
setup.
story.
That is the actual... no, that's...
No, that's okay. There's story.
This is
There's
an
no
accurate
stakes.
synopsis. It's just that there's nothing else to the story. That is literally the entire story.
It's not a competition. I kept thinking the whole movie that they're going to get there and it's going to be a competition. They're going to explain at some point why they need this money, but no.
That's a pretty
As
major
far as I
problem.
know,
The whole
there's
movie is about them going to this stripper convention, but like, why? What do they
for
achieve by going there? Like,
and
to
like
relive their
friendship and
to
for
relive their
creative
glory.
I figured it out.
Yes.
I figured it out. Okay, so I was telling the girls before we started that I got an offer to review the porn parody of this movie, which apparently is also coming out this weekend. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't attest to that. But I just realized this functions like a porn movie you can see in theaters with your friends because it has just enough plot that there are excuses for the sex stuff, and then lots of crazy fun sex stuff. But like not so crazy that you're not like, oh god, I'm with people I know.
That's true.
Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty good way of putting it. So I wrote up a review of this, and to me, I think I said this is kind of like an afternoon at the beach. Like it's like weightless, and and everyone's having a good time, and it's so fun that it feels almost rude to be like, by the way, you have no stakes and no character development. Like
This movie means nothing.
yeah, there's nothing happening here. And the other thing about this movie is it bends over backwards to try to please its audience. It's actually
Literally.
remarkable, like how far out of literally. It's actually remarkable how far out of its way this movie goes for just like shameless, naked, also literally pandering. And I loved it because the thing is, the audience that they're servicing in this movie is a kind of audience that doesn't get serviced in a lot of other movies. So even though I was like, I see what you're doing there, I was like, okay, and it's fun while it's doing that. So I
found that kind of off-putting, though. It's like, I obviously am seeing Magic Mike because I want to see Channing Tatum and Co. take their shirts off and do these crazy acts and stuff, but it almost felt like it was a step away from being a porn, whereas Magic Mike, the first one, was more like routine-based, where they were putting on a show.
Yeah.
This kind of felt a little more like, let's count how many guys can, like, shove their heads in girls' crotches.
I felt fine with that.
I don't know. It's like one of the performances that I appreciated the most in this movie was when Donald Glover serenaded that one woman.
Of course you did.
'cause
I love this.
It was,
I
like,
feel
so
like this is like a
sweet, and I thought
BuzzFeed quiz.
And like his performance actually like suited the character too. It's
Sure.
like they like force feed you that shit at the end where it's like Adam Rodriguez's character with the yogurt shit, and he's like,
I don't
I'm
understand
just
that.
gonna like
That was not fun for me.
That was like a bit much.
I want to say, one, I think that what I thought was really interesting is that Joe Manganiello, is that how you say his name?
Manganiello.
He runs away with this movie because one, he has not just one but two of the best like sexy scenes. The one that they tease in the trailer involving the bottle of water, that slayed me. Like genuinely, I think it's sexy, I think it's funny, and I think it's really smart, and I think they genuinely should be teaching it in film classes because the cutaways and stuff are just dead on. And then two, and I'm not going to give it away because I feel like it's really brilliant, but when they hit the music transition in his final number, I was dying. I was laughing so hard. I think Angie and I were literally punching each other and yelling, "What the fuck?" at that point. Like,
probably. I feel like if I were a less polite person in the movie theater, I would have said it, "What the fuck," about 100 more times, because this is the kind of movie that just. I mean, you guys were talking about how Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator Genisys knows what he knows what he's doing. He knows how to service a fan, and he just go for it. And this movie is that like. That's the entire movie. It's that times 100.
Of including audience that the first movie didn't really cater to. Like in this one, you've got more black men who are stripping, including Twitch from So You Think You Can Dance, which I had forgotten.
It's really notable. Like they're dancing for. I'm sorry, you were talking about Twitch.
I had forgotten that Twitch was in this movie, and like I'm a big So You Think You Can Dance junkie. So when he showed up on screen, I looked at Angie with complete shock, and she's like, "Everyone else knew he was in this movie." But like, yeah, he's in it. He's great. They have Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, if you will. And but then there's also like the women in the movie who get danced on. There are heavier women. There are women of color. It's literally like there are older women. It's literally
And
every shape and size.
Their road trip starts at a gay bar, then they
A
hit
drag club.
a black owned pleasure palace, and then they hit like a gathering of like middle-aged Southern ladies. Like it's everyone that didn't get serviced by the first film. And that's what I meant when I said, like, you know, yeah, it's shameless pandering, but how refreshing to see a movie that's like, we're going to go for those people. We're not going to bother with the, you know, this movie isn't like, oh, we hate, you know, white men ages 18 to 49. That's just not their target audience, and they feel fine with that, and it was refreshing to see that.
And I have to say, like, we talked to a couple of people in that graphic, straight men from ages 18 to whatever, after the screening, and they were big fans of this movie too. I think it's just because it's not just the taking their shirts off and the sexy stuff. This movie's genuinely funny. Like even the scene in the trailer they show where Magic Mike is like pulling a flash dance and welding sexy. There's a comedic timing to that I just found really funny.
See, I like couldn't disagree more. I thought like the pacing was just awful. Like I was kind of bored for a while. There was so much dead air in between performances. And I'll say I think like don't get too hyped about Joe Manganiello's gas station scene, because I think a couple people oversold that to me. Because when we hit that, I was expecting to be like, holy shit. And I was just like, you know, this is a cute, clever scene. And like, I liked it. I liked the payoff at the end of that scene. It did make me smile, but I wasn't particularly wowed by it. But the thing that had me absolutely floored about this movie was how fucking ugly it was. I don't think I've seen a more poorly shot movie, and it's freaking Steven Soderbergh. I don't know what he was thinking with the. He shot and edited this movie, and I think it is like one of the worst.
Well,
jobs.
we should be clear, he didn't direct it though. That's Gregory Jacobs.
No, but he still shot the movie and he edited it, and I don't know what he was thinking with the lighting. I cannot even begin to count the number of times in this movie where someone is talking and we are on somebody else's reaction for no reason whatsoever.
That happen in
and
the
I will
the
tell
Southern
you, I
scene
started while I was taking notes during this movie. I started writing those down, and it started to catch my eye when they were all in the ice cream truck together and they were talking. And there are so many singles on that bomber. Why?
Yeah, a lot of feelings in that
why?
scene.
I don't really know why. And then another plot. Yeah, but like they were hyping that plot up like it was going to define the movie, and I kept waiting for it, for that to be a big deal, and then it
ended in a dick punch.
And then another major issue I had was how dark everything was. There were at least 10 conversations where two people were talking and I could not see their faces. And people in this movie have very pretty faces. I want to see them, and I couldn't see them.
I did think that was funny in the introduction of the Amber Heard character, who is the Jay Courtney of this movie.
Oh boy, she needs to go away.
She's the Cody Horn. She is to this movie with Cody Horn.
She is better than Cody Horn, but let's get real. That's where we're.
I feel like, no, you know what, Kristy? I'm just going to put my foot down. That is an insult to Jai Courtney, because he's better in Terminator than Amber Heard is in XXL.
Not only is Amber Heard's character, like, totally forgettable, there's no point. They could have pulled her out of the movie and I never would have noticed.
Totally agree.
She just brings nothing to that either. It's almost like, I feel like Amber Heard went to that set and was like, I'm going to play around and be a Magic Mike. I don't care about character. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. I get a free lap dance out of it.
It does feel like, it's like one character deficit that Magic Mike has, that he is attracted to the most uninteresting women in the world.
He's attracted to women who are like actively dour. I don't know why, but that's his type for some reason.
She is just the worst.
She is. She's terrible. Also, she eats cake like a savage. That was a detail that really made me angry.
Maybe he liked that.
Because when they reveal, because she's like, at one point she goes off to sulk and be by herself because, I don't know, sometimes guys are douchebags. But whatever. She's eating the cake, and it's a red velvet cake, and like, I started thinking Orange is the New Black, so I laughed. Anyway, but she's eating this red velvet cake, and they cut away, and she has an entire, like, cake plate, and is eating the entire cake with a fork. Like, this is not your home. You are a guest here. You don't just, like, you're an animal.
That was a problem with a lot of the characters. She's the worst offender, where I think she's one of the most unlikable people, where I don't understand why she has any friends. But part of the reason I love Magic Mike so much was that even though all of the supporting guys didn't get much screen time and I wanted to know more about them, they still came across as like nice guys that I'd want to hang out with too. And here it's like I don't understand why they're such dicks.
What?
Oh no!
I think
they're
they were
all-
such good friends. I thought that like one of the things I loved about this movie is
don't
that
know.
everyone seems like so happy to be
I
hanging
thought
out
that
together. I thought it was
they
adorable.
just seemed like such like full of themselves assholes, and I don't know. I didn't like how they behaved the large majority of the movie, and I found that to be like a major turnoff.
Oh wow! I
Maybe
thought they were
this-
so fun.
Maybe this movie just needed more Alex Pettyfer. Maybe the reason I liked them so
Shut
much.
your
Maybe
mouth.
the reason I liked them so much in the first movie was because that he was such a dick. It made them seem
Oh.
like better guys.
I thought you were saying you liked him in the first
Oh my
movie, and I was
God,
like,
no.
Perry, friendship
I
over. What
love
the
the
fuck?
first movie, and I believe I put it in my top 10 of that year. But Alex Pettyfer was the worst thing in that movie.
I'm really glad they wrote him and Cody Horn out, and it's like literally you get a line of dialogue about each, where it's like, all right, fuck those characters.
Yep, yep. All right, so we should wrap up, but in sum, I actually think Magic Mike is just like the perfect like mindless summer movie. Just go with your friends, laugh, have a good time, maybe be a little drunk. I think it's great for that. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Go ahead, Perry.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very disappointed by this just because I like the whole gimmick of it. It excites me, and I was very much looking forward to it. And the thing that blew my mind with the first is that it embraced that gimmick, but it was something more at the same time. This is not more. This is the gimmick, and that is it. And if you're okay with that, fine, go see it. I had fun, but I'm still seriously disappointed.
I understand that. I came down on the other side where the first Magic Mike, this is the Magic Mike I wanted to see the first time. And like, I don't really care about the plot and stuff like that. I thought this was really fun, and I almost thought it was willfully, like, purposefully silly how it chose to have no stakes.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I don't know. I know that the plot is dumb, and I just don't care.
It's the
Whereas,
feel-goodiest of the feel-good movies.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Good
so-
luck figuring out if you should see these two movies this week, because we have been so crystal clear on them.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think if you're gonna go see something this weekend, yeah, Magic Mike is a blast.
Go see Inside Out again. All right. That is a wrap on episode 73 of Popcorn and Prosecco. You can find us all over the place. We have our YouTube channel. We have popcornprosecco.com. We are on Facebook where you can like us. We are on Twitter at Popcorn Prosecco. And then please go to iTunes, subscribe, and also rate us because that is very helpful. And you can find three of us all over the internet as well. Kristy, you want to take it first?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Kristy Puchko, and I write all over the internets. So you can find my career highlights at decadentcriminals.com.
Angie?
You can find me on Twitter at AJHAN, and I write for slashfilm.com.
And you can catch my writing on collider.com, and my Twitter handle is Nemiroff. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
I'll be back.